Cool, man. And how can drum and bass be better in 2023?
Less bicycles.
He's muted. There you go.
I'm glitching out, yeah?
I want to see less trends, a lot of less people kind of imitating each other's style and stuff. I think it's really important to kind of push yourself and like your own sound.
Because it's not even a genre in this case, it's an entire culture.
Ben showed me that you can do it on your own. Like, you don't need to be a massive label with this big backing behind you and like all of the following and all of the like merch and all of this stuff that makes you cool. That's the reason you sell records.
Without the artist, there is no rebel music.
No, our snares are proper shit, mate. Where's your man Keeney, man? Yeah. I'm the glitching dude now, yeah?
You're the glitching dude.
One more thing.
Hello and welcome to a very, very special episode of One More Thing. I say it's a very special episode every single time, but this time it's going to be the biggest. I don't even know how many people are going to be on this call eventually. It is all about Rebel Music. They are celebrating 4 years. They're celebrating 50 releases with their Rebel Alliance 5. This is going to be a huge one. It's going to be a huge community of artists. I don't know who's going to be on the call. I've got a good idea because I know the type of artists that are on the label, but this is just going to be chaos. So I think I'm going to do my intro before I allow all of these different people onto the call. And I'm going to do that stupid little editing thing like this. So when I go like this, or when I go like this, I have no idea what type of carnage is going to happen or what type of conversation we're going to have, but we're going to talk all about Rebel Music, about the community that OB1 has launched and developed and curated amongst all of his artists, and see where they are all at the start of 2023. Let's go like this. Hang on. That didn't quite work out really, did it? Let's go like that.
One more thing.
But when I say Rebel Music, what's the first thing that springs to mind?
For me, it was always to create a space and a platform for the underground side of the music. That was the idea for the label, to be that platform and to support at the beginning, like a lot of fresh artists and new people, giving them that platform. And with the background that I had in the music, coming from Valve and Virus, Prototype, Metalheads, being in the game that long, now starting a platform for myself where I can use all of that knowledge to help other people and push those people forward. So yeah, and the operation is everyone involved will tell you, it was always about being consistent, making sure that, if you want to, there's so many labels nowadays compared to when it, the origin years, the 80s, 90s. You've really got to be consistent, and there's got to be music out all the time, and it isn't about one person. Rebel Music really is like it's an artist-led label, and it is about the group as a whole, and the VA is a perfect example of that, doing the alliances every 10 releases and bringing different groups of artists together to showcase the overall sound of the label. Without the artist, there is no Rebel Music. So as they'll tell you, they make up the lion's share of everything. It really is about them.
Yeah, go on. I absolutely love that.
One more thing.
I say Rebel Music, you say
Dubwise.
Yeah.
That's how I got into touch with Ben, and how I got into knowing the label, really. Like me and Ben go back quite a while back, because we run nights down in Brighton at Volks, and he came and played for us when we had Conflict, and it was we all sort of kind of fanboyed a bit around Rob Data for like sort of a good couple of hours beforehand.
Yeah, we're quite new to the team, but it's big happy family. Everyone's really welcoming, and we've learned a lot in a short amount of time, and yeah, it's cool. It's a nice group to be a part of.
Collaboration is what I say. Yeah, and it's really always been a dream of mine to be a part of something like this that is so collaborative and supportive and challenging as well. We all try and push each other along, and I think that's part of Ben's plan, is for the artists to competitively but friendly, but in a friendly way, push each other to make better music.
You want people pushing you. You want that real feedback. You want that honesty. You want somebody to tell you that your snare is shit, don't you?
Who's been saying that?
Oh man, it's the word on the street. Everybody's been saying that. No, not you personally.
I'm bringing it back.
You want that. I mean, that's the point of a collective, really, isn't it? Everybody pushing each other really in the same direction. So where am I at now? But when I say rebel music to you, what do you say or think about?
Family.
Yeah, go on.
Definitely, especially like when I first joined, like others have mentioned, it was just everyone's so welcoming and friendly to each other, but not like forcefully.
Yeah, because I guess that can be contrived, can't it? Or otherwise it becomes this kind of this forced thing which can't exist naturally really in that type of way. And I think like minds do gravitate towards each other. I think as drum and bass heads, all of us, there is a certain strand that exists in everybody who is drawn to this type of extreme music, really.
Yeah, 100%.
When I say rebel music, you say?
I was going to say London. I think there's been consistently over the years, I guess almost 4 years, I met Ben in a club in London, and he's been putting on events since then, especially in lockdown when there was no clubs. Rebel music was one of the few promoters to keep the beats moving. You know, there were sit down raves throughout that period, and that really kept the sense of family and community going.
At a time when we really, really needed it as well.
Yeah, there was nothing.
Yeah, go on. Cool. Censored the audio. I think you're talking to me from Puerto Rico, isn't it?
I am from Puerto Rico, but I'm currently based in Florida.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool, man. That's just as international. How's it going in Florida?
It's going pretty warm. Right now it's pretty like quote unquote cold, but for me it's cold. But it's going so far so good, you know, as you know, so far as it can get, you know what I'm saying?
Right, mine's zero now.
It's all about the music, honestly, because when I first talked to Ben, he literally didn't care about if I had any followers, if I had any music out there. He just listened to the music, he liked it, and yeah, we actually this track in the LP is my first ever release.
That's amazing, and it is. It's not about the numbers. The numbers are a huge, huge, huge distraction. That's something that I've spoken to you guys about, Kolectiv.
It's difficult though, isn't it? I think everyone appreciates that. I think it's hard to take your eye off those things, and sometimes it can get you down. But really, at the end of it, you just got to kind of focus and plow on, haven't you? Otherwise, what's the point?
Just do you.
Yeah.
Just do you.
I think diversity of the music as well. I think it's got quite a diverse catalogue, so there's a lot of room for kind of doing different things within the label, which for us works really well.
I don't think there's two artists in the group that make the same sound or style, really. I mean, everyone's got their own identity, everyone's got their own little signatures, quite unique in flavour, which gives, like Simon says, super diverse in that way, which is good. But at the same time, gives you loads of ideas. It's like I talking to him the other day about one of Solace's tunes that I heard recently, and I heard a snare in it. We talk about shit snares, but I heard him use a snare that we would never use. And then similarly, we're talking to Harvey about this a couple of years ago, that we use a snare that he would never use. And that's quite interesting. And then the fact that all of us are doing little things like that give you a bit of a spark or inspiration to maybe try or take a risk with something else.
Yeah, definitely. Or you're just saying that everybody else has got shit snares on the label, and this is your really polite way of saying that.
No, our snares are proper shit, mate.
I always think about like back to the day when Ben contacted me, to be honest, because he found me on SoundCloud, which was amazing itself, but because there's so many artists out there. So yeah, first I thought someone's playing a joke on me. I was kind of one of the first artists to be on Rebel Music, and then I just saw the whole crew growing and growing and growing. Like each and every week there was more to the group, more people. So yeah, it's just taking on a journey since then.
That's wicked. Creatures, you've been there from the start as well, haven't you, man?
Excuse me. Yeah, basically, I think I was one of the first sort of 5 or 10 artists to get involved in Rebel. Since day one, it's just been such an amazing label to work with. It's all about the artists. You know, I don't know if it's super public knowledge, but everything's slightly weighted towards the artist, whether it's royalties, whether it's this, whether it's that. It's like you get a little bit more with Ben because he thinks it's about the music and the artist, and you know, that's just the way it is. So it's just that whole ethos.
Really inspiring as well. Like that was something that came about in a UKF interview that we did, that is the royalties are split 60-40.
Yeah.
And you know, I'd never heard of a label doing that before, really. And I think that's really, really inspiring for what I want to achieve as One More Thing as a label, as well as an editorial platform. And I think that's got to be quite empowering then from the point of view of an artist, then kind of knowing that you're not a commodity in that way. You're not just there as a product, you're there because he believes in you and wants you to shine, or the label, you know, that's the energy, that's the kind of the consistency, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And I think it then also follows through with, you can do what you want with the music. Like, I approach Ben with tracks, and if he likes the tunes, he'll kind of take the tunes on or whatever. Like, that's the way it is. So it's
Amiga point, man. When I say rebel music, what do you say?
Yeah, well, Skuff kind of took the words out of my mouth saying family. I guess I could say something different and go with community. But I got into the label, then got in touch that summer 2018, so before the launch of the label. And yeah, everyone's been really sound, made some good friends. I think I moved home, moved across country, end of 2019, near London. And since then, most of my new friends have been through either rebel music or drum and bass in general, and going through lockdown where you can't go out and do stuff, to have this, you know, community amongst rebel music to chat to, you know, sometimes daily in the WhatsApp group.
That's amazing. Yeah, because we've been through some really hard times, some really turbulent, brutal times. And a lot of us have been doing that on our own and in total isolation as well during a lot of the time that the label's been developing. So yeah, it's much more than the music in that way. Reedy.
So yeah, I find it like a massive privilege and opportunity for me. Like saying as an artist that's only been like, you could say on the scene for like 2-3 years now. I kind of just started out DJing and only started production like for that long. So yeah, so for a band to see my talent and want me as a part of a wicked label like this with like-minded artists, it does hold like a good part to me. So yeah.
Oh, that's wicked. Right, Tetrad, you're the last in my grid that I can see.
For me, it's originality, really. At the minute, there's a lot of, you know, drum and bass being made and put out there. And I found with Rebel, you can always find that the artists on that label are pushing exactly what they want to make, as opposed to trying to stick to any formula. And to me, that was refreshing because as an emerging artist myself, like only new to it, I've always felt a little bit of pressure to kind of do what is going to be deemed as accessible to the masses. But I'm not really into that. I've always been into something a bit more underground, a bit more depth to it. You know, more into the roots of what drum and bass is really about, or always was about. So yeah, it's definitely about originality, and any time that I make something that I feel like, you know, it's a special expression of what I feel about drum and bass, Ben's the first person that will hear it from me, because I know that he will listen to it and give me proper judgment and guidance, basically. So it's been good for me to get involved. It's new for me. I haven't been here long, so yeah, that's what it's been about, really, just originality.
Oh, that's amazing. That's wicked. That kind of leads me on then, because I was going to say, like, we'll do another round then with one question. And this is like, you know, kind of, you've highlighted there, like, I was going to ask, what does everybody want to see more of, or how can drum and bass be better in 2023? And I was going to add in, like, what have you learned? Like, tell me something, because you've all taught each other, you've all guided each other. So if we work our way around again, what do you want to see more of in drum and bass, or how can drum and bass be better in 2023? And what have you learned from your comrades, your brothers, your sisters at Rebel Music?
I just want to see more of everything that was said in the part before, from whether it's community, originality, collaborations. Like, there's so much stuff that does go on between the label. In terms of events and stuff, for me, you're going to see the nights that we do specifically in London are only going to feature Rebel artists really at the events now. We've built this. The foundations were built in the first couple of years. You know, Dub Wars has extended that and pushed the envelope out there. We've put on some amazing events from the beginning, and now I feel it's that time where, rather than getting guests in alongside our artists, I feel like you know, the artists you can see before you are all building the careers. You know, they're all capable of playing these headline sets and filling up our club full of people that follow the label. I'd like to see more LPs later down the line. Creatures has got an LP towards the end of the year. Obviously more VAs with our 60th release when that comes around. But yeah, just, you know, 50 releases, 400 tracks, more creativity, more originality. And as a lot of people have mentioned, just artists being themselves. There's no, you know, you make the music that you feel, and I love music that's got feeling to it. And that can come in so many different shapes and shades. And, you know, the people, I feel the word privilege was used earlier. And it's nice to hear it, but the honest truth is, I feel very privileged to have been able to have, you know, assembled this ship and to be able to work with all these amazingly gifted artists who trust me with these pieces of music that, for me, they're literally like it's a little bit of them every time. And they trust me to go out there and get it out there to the right people and do my best with it and promote these things. And it's a real privilege and an honor for me, is the honest truth. So, you know, thanks to everyone that showed up tonight, and not just the people in this Zoom chat, but all the other artists that are involved in the label, because there's a lot of people that go to making up something. You know, it really is for me. Like, it means a lot. Takes up a big part of my life. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah. Sorry, I'm late for the call, but yeah, I've only just joined. But it's got very family vibe, Rebel music. I'm not like the most active in the chat because I'm just awful at WhatsApp. But yeah, like there's a good community going on amongst the label. People are always talking, ideas are always bouncing, which is very, very nice to see. And it's one of the first labels that I've kind of seen that with that I've sort of been like you know associated with. It's a good group. Yeah. I'm rambling.
No, you're not rambling at all. So I was asking everybody now, like this is like the second kind of question I was asking everybody. How can drum and bass be better in 2023? And what have you learned from your Rebel Music comrades, the Rebel Music family members?
More focus on just the art as opposed to the politics that goes on amongst it. Like I know the politics plays a part in it, and I understand that. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of people out there who don't get enough recognition and have imaginable amounts of talent. And you know, just focus on the stuff that got you into it in the first place, as opposed to all the noise that goes on.
It's basically to loop back what someone said before is originality, because loads of artists just make music to make a banger and to have it go off in the clubs, but it's like, fuck it, why would you put a hat in the intro when it doesn't fit? If your tune sounds good and you like it, then that's your tune. You don't have to put a foghorn in there just to make it go off in the clubs or whatever. So I just want to see more people going after their sound and not using the Noisia sample pack for the next 5 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, massively. Nulo, how about you, man?
I think in vein with how it's like, or in line with how we're like a community, that I've had quite a load of really good collabs with a lot of people on the label, and I've learned little things from each one of them, and I really appreciate like how everyone's got their own perspective and what they bring to it. And you know, every time I work with them, I realize how shit my snares are compared to everyone else's. And so I've learned that my snares will never be good enough. And but I also look forward to sort of working with everyone sort of and trying to work my way around the roster to try and sort of pick up everyone's sort of little tricks.
Yeah, go on, that's wicked. Cool, man. And how can drum and bass be better in 2023?
Less bicycles.
Let's leave that without any context at all. There's got to be some type of story or joke. But cool. Right, okay, James, you're next now.
Oh, yo, I think what we've learned probably is to not be afraid of being ourselves through our music. And you know, there's a massive pool of talent within Rebel, and everyone's unapologetically themselves.
So how could drum and bass be better?
More cowbell.
And what have you learned from everybody here?
I'm an unsociable bastard.
That's amazing. I think keep it at that, really. Right, Ghost Hardware, we can see you now. Cool. So I'm going to go back to the first question for you. Like when I say rebel music, what springs to mind for you?
Rebel music, it is, yeah, like I know that the others said it, but it's like a family. It's really, really nice. It's like you know, whenever I go to the events and stuff, it's just like a really nice community, and it's just formed of like very like-minded artists, and yeah, it's just, yes, it's really fun. It's definitely, yeah, I really love it.
How can drum and bass be better in 2023? Because obviously you're just launching your label and everything as well, so you must have taken some cues from this culture that you're part of then as part of the rebel community.
Yeah, 100%. I think like, because I've loved drum and bass for such a long time, I've been kind of like learning quite a lot through my experience, as well as like as an up and coming DJ. And I think drum and bass, I think in 2023, I'd like to see, you know, like as usual, just a lot more diversity, a lot more inclusion. I think especially for, you know, like there's a lot more non-binary artists that are coming out now, and I think a lot more understanding and acceptance for artists that identify as trans and non-binary, because there was always a lot of chat about females getting included, you know, and I think it would be great for, especially for the older generation of artists, to be more open-minded and accepting of non-binary artists. Basically, there's quite a few of us as well, and I think like music-wise, I think just to, you know, keep for everyone to kind of keep experimenting with their own sounds, you know, I think that's really important, and that's something that I'm really trying to push on my label as well, is uniqueness and people's creativity and personality. I think that, you know, with music we're all expressing ourselves, you know, and I think that's something that I want to see more of, and I want to see less trends, you know, a lot of less people kind of imitating each other's style and stuff. I think it's really important to kind of push yourself and like your own sound. I think that's what makes music special, basically.
Definitely. And we've all got a duty to encourage that as well. Certainly from my position as, you know, somebody who celebrates this music, what needs to be championed and how that culture changes is what we champion and what we encourage from each other, really, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. And I think there are a lot of labels that are doing that, you know, and I think Rebel's definitely one of them. And I've been very inspired by, you know, those kind of labels that have that kind of open mind, you know, and they don't kind of tell you to stick to a particular style or a sound because it's trendy, or because, you know, like you said, it's attracting a lot, let's say a lot of money, basically, a lot of people. I think, you know, there's like that side of things, but there's also the I don't know, I like to, you know, I think it's important to keep things fun as well, you know, rather than thinking about what's marketable at that moment in time, you know, because they come and go. But I think it's more important for me anyway to be pushing things that are going to be long lasting. Yeah,
definitely. You've hit the nail on the head there. That's perfect. Right, so back to my grid situation. Octavate now, back to you guys.
So we have definitely learned to, I don't know, just believe in like digging our own trench in a way. Dig until you find diamonds, right? You don't jump in the big pit next door where everyone's digging. We were kind of doing that a bit. I don't know, I was always nervous for that. But all of you guys saying what you want is more originality, more solo digging, you know? It's great. So we've as well learned to believe in ourselves, I'd say.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, that's perfect. That's both things there, really. Yeah, cool.
It's great. And this club is, you know, enhancing all of that, because what an honor, you know. I'm a total newcomer here. George brought me in. So, yeah.
Oh, amazing. Cool.
Big up, man.
Yeah, what a way to start your journey then in drum and bass. How about you, Censored the Audio?
Personally, like I never step a foot in the UK. You know, I don't know what it's like to be where it's from. You know, I'm completely foreign when it comes to this sort of like culture, because it's not even a genre in this case. It's an entire culture. It's a beautiful thing. I've learned so many things along the way. When I got like when I stumbled upon drum and bass for the first time, it was like back in 2007, and I was in middle school. You know, it changed everything. You know, I met people through music, like through drum and bass, that led me to the place where I am right now, and the person that I am nowadays, and it's something completely different. So, you know, everybody have been saying about, you know, originality and all that. You know, it's inevitable. It's been going on subconsciously, and you know, everybody focus on that even more makes it even more pure. So it's gonna be a good thing what's gonna be coming on 2023. I want to see more drum and bass over here on this side of the world, to be completely
I
fair.
think that's happening. That's definitely on its
It's
way.
slowly but surely happening, but the receptiveness of people down over here is interesting. There's a huge umbrella when it comes to receiving this sort of sonics, and it's gonna be quite a very interesting scenario what's gonna be going down when everybody starts approaching, because you know there's been some huge names, and you know I know a couple people that I've been working with lately that you know they be involved with them, you know, talk about, like, you know, I don't want to mention too many names, but you know Alex Perez, you know, Suruda, she, all these people have been coming over here, and you know I work with people that support them directly, and you know it's interesting how over here the receptiveness about the noise is different. But I want to see more, because everybody likes it inside, but I want to see more people be open to the idea of the sound. I want to see more people moving quicker instead of like just like
I think it's happening. I think it's happening. There's also the other side then of that, the EDMification of drum and bass with other artists. But I think as what Skrillex did for dubstep and brought in a whole other generation, like the Prodigy did for those of us who came through in the 90s, I think we're going to see that kind of two-tiered effect where you're going to have the big mainstream stuff, which might not appeal to a lot of people in this group, certainly myself. But also because of that, you have the counteraction and the underground movement as well. And I think you need both of those for that to happen. And you can see it happening really visibly in America at the moment. I think
but you
it's
know,
really cool. Like in the chat here now, we're seeing, like, you know, same in Denmark and same in Spain as well. It's just global.
yeah, I mean, you know, this is me speaking from a point of view of the US point of view, but you know, I grew up in Puerto Rico and I'm from Puerto Rico, born and raised. And speaking in Puerto Rico point of view, it's completely different, you know. Rob Data, Ed Rush and Optical, you know, Chase and Status, they used to visit early in the 2000s and the late 90s. They used to live in basically the tunnel, the Túnel de Oaxaca, we used to call it. And it's basically a tunnel that they shut down, they build a stage, and the party's done when it's done. Over in Puerto Rico, it was a whole different side. So in Puerto Rico, is very, very receptive. I remember seeing Noisia back in 2000, 2008, 2009 for the first time over there.
Wow, go on.
Blew my mind. I was like,
Cool.
whoa, this is it. This is it.
Brilliant. So how about you, Mind Zero, in Spain as well, keeping the international vibes going? Like, what do you want to see more of in Spanish drum and bass then?
Oof.
Yeah, in Spanish drum and bass is almost like the same. There's no much underground drum and bass happening at the moment. We've just had some techno artists, but nothing quite special. But yeah, in drum and bass, generally speaking, and personally, I would like to see more focus on the vibes, because normally I feel like a lot of focus on techniques and which sounds. It's okay. It's not bad, but music, I like to focus more on the vibes.
Yeah, technicality can be taught in that way, but vibe is the special thing that you really want to harness there, isn't it? Cool. What have you learned from the crew?
To not be shy about my own sound, and don't try to be like anyone else or any big artist. Just pushing what I like the most, and be patient, and somebody will be up to it.
Yeah, patience is the long game. Kolectiv, right? Tell me what you want to see more of in drum and bass. How can drum and bass be better in 2023?
Hear less music, but more original music. It's it. And like better quality music. I think like less sample packs basically, because I just hear a lot of the same sounds and a lot of the same things going on from a lot of different artists, and it's boring. More original but less music, because it's so saturated as well. You don't need to put out an EP every month or whatever. You know, you can do a couple of EPs a year, but make them fucking great EPs and don't compromise.
Yeah, definitely. Not everything needs to come out. Not everything needs to be released in that type of way.
Fucking prime example is Caliber, who like makes 100 tunes and then puts 3 of them out. Do you know what I mean? He'll make 100 ideas and 97 of them aren't good enough.
I have to say, 100 with Kolectiv on that one. Less music, more quality. There's so many beautiful like pieces of music in drum and bass too. I mean, people know that I'm more the soft guy in the group, probably not doing the, you know, hard stuff. But even those tunes, catching the atmosphere in a tune needs more than a couple of seconds. And I think if you put, like, as an artist, for me, it's like I want to see and hear the small stuff in tunes. You know, if someone's putting a lot of love in a tune, yeah, it's not getting any recognition nowadays. It's just about the bang, and then it's gone. It's like, yeah, even great tunes getting forgotten in like one day.
Next on my little grids, but I don't know if you're there. Amiga Point, are you still there?
More funk. Like, there's lots of people still keeping the funk in drum and bass. It came from the funk, but equally there's a lot of very modern polished stuff. Yeah, big, bright and loud is great, but you still got to have the groove in there. I think aside from that, I'd be duplicating a lot of what everyone else has said as well.
How can drum and bass be better in 2023?
I think with drum and bass at the minute, it's because of how the shift went from the different methods. We used to cut vinyl and stuff like that, and now it's all digital. So I think that's part of the reason why things started getting churned out faster. It was much more accessible. It was easier to get it out as a label. And it's almost like there's a new generation of producers that only listen to drum and bass, and so they're just kind of generically repeating what's been done, as people have said before. It doesn't sound like there's as much originality as there needs to be because of that reason. They're not drawing sources from other music. I'm not trying to say that it's definitely true, but that's just how it feels, because you know, when you step back from that and listen to other music, you find that you'll come back to writing music and you'll have much better ideas, stuff that you can kind of implement into the music you're making yourself.
Definitely.
So, you know, it might be sample packs and stuff like that, but it all kind of ties in, doesn't it? And I think that's the only thing that what could change is that people just take a step back away from what they're seeing happening right now and look elsewhere and kind of come back with their own fresh source of what to do with it. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of what I try and do anyway when I'm stuck with writing and stuff like that. Just trying
to refreshes the palette then as well. Totally. Harvey, you're next on my little grid type situation.
I think in terms of things that I want to see in drum and bass, there's two things. It's kind of adding to what Kez and Sai said, but I think more like quality control. Like, there's none. And everyone sets up their own label now and does it and releases music from their friends and all of this, that, and the other. And like, you know, not every tune needs to be released at all. And there's lots of things going on in drum and bass. Like, there's no jobs in drum and bass. Do you know what I mean? You either make it or you don't, whether it's mainstream music or underground and you did your thing or whatever. So I think some form of quality control, because everyone, their nan and their dog are all making drum and bass tunes right now. And most of them are bootlegs that are shit and don't need to be on hype edit. So if we can stop that, that would be good. But in terms of things that I've learned, I think Ben showed me that you can do it on your own. Like, you don't need to be a massive label with this big backing behind you and like all of the following and all of the like merch and all of this stuff that makes you cool. That's the reason you sell records. Yeah. He's shown us that as an artist that does your own thing, you can get to those top 3 in the charts. You can get to that position with your like releases. You can do these things, and you don't need to be fancy and spend all of this money on stupid extra bullshit. Like, you can literally focus on the music. And if you do that, you can treat your artists better and give them more money, like 60% of the like, do you know what I mean? And it's like, because stuff's not wasted on ego. So yeah, I think just a different point from what most people have said, but it allows that independence within the scene. And yeah, you can do it.
I love that. And that's kind of what you've learned and what you want to see more of really in one there, isn't it?
yeah, basically.
Yeah, go on, wicked. Right, so I'm really worried that we've lost Robin, because I never got to ask him the other question. Equilibrium, where are you? Well, there we go. Because I want to ask you, because
Yeah,
we're
I'm
literally
here.
wrapping up. We've got the last few people, but I've not got to speak to you yet.
Okay, so I need more. Well, I want to see more variety, of course. Also, I'd like to see like more action in my region. I live at the border of well, I live in France, and it's right at the border of Switzerland and Germany. And in my region, there's not really much around. There are the guys from QZB who well often do parties here in Switzerland, in Basel, but except that, there's no, yeah,
That's a shame.
there's no really a theme. Yeah, that's really a shame. Yeah.
Mr. Section, tell me what you would like to see more of. How can drum and bass be better in 2023? It's such a loaded question. I'm a twat for asking this, to be honest.
It's a great question, and it could, there's many answers, as everyone's demonstrated, but and I think to echo what many people have said is I'd like to hear longer tracks, not just because of the mixing thing, people making tracks not purely to DJ, but for progressing at one sound is challenging, it's time consuming. I don't hear a lot of that. There's lots of switches. I like hearing variety in the second part of a tune, or the development of a particular sound or a melody within a tune. So I'd like to hear more people being more confident to make longer music. And what I've learned from being part of this group is role modeling. I think Ben is a fantastic leader, and role models by his own actions. There's no ego. There's no, we've discussed it before. As Harvey said, the 60-40 split demonstrates inspiring role modeling, and I'd like to see a lot more of that, and people development rather than just wanting to get bangers out. So big up Ben and for role modeling such incredible leadership.
Cool. Reedy, man, I think you're the last person now on the grid. And I want to thank everybody for their patience as well. This has been way less chaotic than I thought it would be. This has been fucking awesome. It's going to be mad to edit, but it's been awesome. So Reedy, man, you got the final shout.
Yeah, so what I want to see more of really is a lot more experimental styles in drum and bass. So I've noticed that like you get a lot of groups out within minimal that start to sound pretty similar. There's bits in like the more funkier side that starts similar. Same for Neuro and everything like that. But I kind of want to see just like the branches start coming out of the tree. Really, I want to see all out these little extra little tweaks that this artist may do, and this is something that I want to do myself personally actually as well. I want to have like different kinds of like rhythms going. I want to just have all like different styles going on. Same for like bass lines as well, like instead of having like a normal rolling bass line, just have like literally just going all experimental is what I'm trying to say anyway. That's something that I've always found really exciting.
Yeah, definitely. And what have you learned from everybody here?
Yeah, I always looked at like the whole Rebel group. Like, there's so many like massive artists and so many skillful artists that I never really thought. I've always kind of doubted myself and thought that I'd never be as good as like anyone else in this group. But I've kind of learned that everyone's so humble and respectful, and they'll happily give you a good critique and just help you reach the next level. So yeah, it's a great group to be in, and I've definitely learnt to not be so hard on myself as well.
That's wicked. Yeah, I think that's something that we can all learn in a creative industry, is not to be so hard on ourselves, really, and to give ourselves a bit of a break. Because I mean, you can be your own worst critic, which is great in terms of kind of quality control and making sure that you're not just throwing out any old shit. But at the same time, on the flip side of that spectrum, we can all be way too hard on ourselves, can't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Right. Thank you all for your patience. This has been fucking amazing. Like, I was expecting it to be way more chaotic. Does anybody feel like they've not been asked the questions, or have I missed anybody out or anything like that?
No, but I've definitely got something to say.
Yeah.
Couple of things that should probably be included. Again, thanks to everyone for turning out tonight. Really looking forward to the Rebel Alliance dropping on the 27th of January. Big love to all of the Rebels that couldn't be with us this evening, wherever they are in the world and whatever they're up to tonight.
That's wicked.
Other things to look out for. After Rebel 50, you've got a Talim single. I did a collab with him for the Flip. That's the first thing I've done for a little while since EP with Kolectiv, and a single with Creatures on Skank and Bass. After that, you've got Mind Zero's EP. So that's February. We've got Sea-Doo in April. You've got a Jace EP coming up. There's an EP from Nemi coming up. Creatures album. Whole heap of amazing music for the rest of the year. So thanks very much for hosting us, Dave.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. And to be honest, I was expecting more chaos. Before I end the call, everybody just turn on your mic and just shout at the mic. Just, but as I'm ending the call, shout bye or shout sick or go but or make any type of noise that your gut tells you to. And at one point, I'm just going to end this call and you're going to be making noise to a blank screen. I want chaos. I want raw chaos, but I want to say thank you very much. It's going to be wicked. So big up. Nice one.
One more thing.